Welcome back to the Newcastle Review, the Constantine podcast for Southgate Media Group. I'm Lilith, and joining me is
Carolee, also known as Boston Red Vines.
Up for discussion today is episode 102,
The Darkness Beneath.
So basically, this is like the second pilot, obviously, because, we are not dealing with the story of Lucy Griffiths anymore. We're all about Zed Martin.
I liked that she entered Constantine's life. It made it much more interesting, and I like their dynamics together.
I'm still on the fence. Just kind of have to... I don't know. It's weird because Lucy Griffiths was an original character created by David S. Goyer, and Zed is an actual, well, she's loosely based on an actual comic book character. So usually I'm more apt to like the comic book character as opposed to an original character. But I think right now, as it stands, I liked Lucy better than I liked Zed at this point.
Really? Okay. Well, I liked them both equally. So either one for me would have been okay.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, it's going to take some time because, we just watched the pilot and it's setting stuff up. And now we're on like a case of the week where I'm just like, it's kind of grinded that momentum to a halt.
Right. Monster of the Week. Mm-hmm. Totally understand.
And it's getting these, if you read any of the reviews, that especially people that like watch the first couple of seasons of Supernatural, it's getting those comparisons and it's just not going to stack up at this point right now.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's what has me worried if we dive instantly into Monster of the Week and we don't develop our mythology in the world we're in just a little bit more.
Maybe next week it won't be a Monster of the Week. It'll be the mythology will start.
Yeah, I'm hoping. That's all. I mean, I know it was a necessary evil, but just it's like, it was already had a rocky start with a lot of viewers, so it's just like, come on, let's get some real action. This episode was written by Rachni S. O'Bannon. He has done a lot of stuff, by the way, like Revolution, Defiance, Cult, V, Farscape, Alien Nation, Twilight Zone, the 80s series, not the original. Well, he got stuck with the task of having to basically write a brand new pilot. So it's just like, I have to take it at that face value. And I think that they really missed out the opportunity of having their second episode on an actual Halloween night, and it's kind of a spooky show, and not to kind of at least dive into a little bit of Halloween mythologies. But I thought that the setup was fine enough if we're going to do procedural for a while. And our director was Steve Schill. He's a British guy, so I like that because Constantine is obviously a British comic book character and had tons of British comic book writers come through on various runs. So I always like when they kind of tip the hat that way. So would you hit him with the synopsis?
Deep in the mountains of western Pennsylvania, Matt Ryan, is a small mining community's only defense against an ancient Welsh spirit. In the course of protecting these isolated incidents, John finds a vital new ally in a mysterious young woman named Zed.
We meet Zed at the end of last week's episode.
I saw her briefly painting John Constantine. I don't know how many paintings she had of him.
I don't know. So yeah, we kind of got a brief introduction into her. All the comic book fans kind of lost their stuff because we see her name scrolled in the bottom of it. And I'm like, okay, because originally we were supposed to be getting into Papa Midnight for our second episode, per the original pilot. And that's what had me really excited actually about the original pilot. And so it was just like, when they cut that out, I was like, oh, okay, we're going to do this. And then I was like, okay, so at least we get to meet Zed, and she's obviously a lot younger than her comic book counterpart, and that has me worried. She was a much older woman, like in her 40s, I believe, if I remember right. And Zed, actually, if I remember right, Zed isn't the actual character's name. I want to say it was Mary Martin. And so that's another kind of liberty that I'm like, okay, whatever, sure. But then like in the new, well, that was the old continuity, but in New 52, she is relatively younger, but I prefer the older, worldly kind of woman than the young girl who doesn't have, I wanted somebody that was on par with Constantine, not somebody that he had to constantly be teaching. So that's kind of a disappointment for me right now.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. But at least she does have visions of John Constantine, and later in the episode we'll see some more visions that she'll have. So I liked that part. That part was neat for me.
Yeah, I'm also not a big fan of like interjecting romance and sex into like a quote unquote superhero show. Like I want to focus on the villains and the hero journey You know what I'm saying? So this has me very, very sketchy because obviously the young woman playing Zed Martin is hot. Super, super hot. And Matt Ryan's super, super hot. And so it's like, yeah, we're going to get him in the bed eventually. You just see it coming.
I've heard some shippers already.
Oh yeah, that's unavoidable, especially on social media, and fandom, online fandom and stuff. But I'm just interested in getting the show on the road and having Zed actually, stand toe to toe with Constantine, and I hope they kind of speed her journey up. So you like Zed?
I do. I like the other actors as well, but I did hear a lot of people say Constantine would have had to explain lots of things to her. She wouldn't have any background into the occult or demons, and it seems like Zed does have a bit of information, and you can tell she does have some, I wouldn't say magical powers, but she does have some sort of powers because she has been painting Constantine. So there's some kind of relationship in between those two, like a mysterious past of sorts. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if they're actually gonna go down the comic book road of them actually like they forgot that they were like it was a spell or something, I think, if I remember right, where they kind of forgot that they were lovers and stuff.
Oh.
And then it like slowly gets revealed, and then it's like, oh, and then it's this other weird story arc that goes the Resurrection Crusade story arc. So yeah, it's like a lot of potential, but then it's also a lot of pitfalls that they're gonna have to avoid.
Right.
I was kind of bummed out that we got no Manny or Chaz. It was just literally Constantine goes out on his own to set up this relationship. The story had to set up this relationship between him and Zed. Got Chaz at the beginning for like 30.
I had a question about this. If this was in a comic book, Chaz said he could not go to Pennsylvania because he was wanted or something, and he said he couldn't go because of a succubus on a train and a derailment. And I was like, say what?
Well, obviously John Constantine is wanted in London for the quote unquote murder of, Astra. And so they have done things to save people that could look illegal to the outside eye. So expect a lot of kind of funny passing by stories like that, I would assume.
Okay. And I did like the fact that, was there a new title sequence? Did you?
Necessarily new, but it was longer and they added a few extra things. And I actually had a problem with it. I'm sorry, guys, but I know, and like I totally get it from a business standpoint that they kind of want this to be the show that actually gains from Grimm, or at least doesn't lose tremendous, viewers from watching Grimm. And so it was very Grimm-esque. If you watch Grimm, the opening title sequence is very first season Grimm, where it's just kind of music and little flashes and, of things to come and things that have happened. And, it's just very Grimm-esque, and it's like, I don't know if I'm okay with that, because I need for Constantine to be like the other DC shows and stand in its own stylistic choices. Like every single DC show on TV right now has its own stylish aesthetic. Like Gotham, it's that, flip phones and boxy cars, very anachronistic style where you don't know what year it is. They won't tell you. So they try to make everything feel as timeless as possible. Then you have the Flash that is really bright and the music is very upbeat. And then you have Arrow that's dark and it has obviously the green filters and stuff, and it's gritty. And so Constantine can be dark and gritty and spooky, but it can't try to just match Grimm's tone. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. But I can see where Constantine could be a little bit darker. I mean, from what you've been telling me about the comic books, if they would make it darker, not so dark that we can't see it. On some other shows where like I said last week, I have to go right up to front of my TV screen and go, what am I watching? I can't see a thing.
Thought maybe they were gonna do like what they did with the promotional stuff and have him with the flames in his hands.
Ah, yes.
But instead, it's kind of like this Indiana Jones meets Harry Potter Marauders map thing. So it's probably gonna take a while to grow on me, but it's a good start, and they very well could change it. Grimm went through a lot of changing when it came to their title sequence. Might not be set in stone just yet. I just want Constantine to stand on its own.
Right.
It already has so many comparisons to so many other things that they really need to set themselves apart and quickly.
Right. It's like they're trying too hard to get the Grimm people to stay.
And that's an NBC thing. I don't necessarily think that that's an actual WBDC thing. I think that that's an NBC.
Yeah, so he ends up, John Constantine ends up in Pennsylvania, and I actually noticed he was walking, you see his back, and I saw a puff of smoke right on his left-hand side, so I'm believing he's actually smoking. So we got a little bit of a hint that he still has his smoking habit.
Well, yeah, he still has a smoking habit. We also see him kind of pantomime him putting the cigarette butt out with his heel. He gets ready to light up, and then, we see Zed on his bed. And so, yeah, he's definitely still smoking, and they're trying to be clever and cute with it without actually showing it. And I guess I have to be resigned with that fact that at least they're trying the best that they can on network TV.
And I still don't understand why they can't show it. It just doesn't make any sense to me, really. I mean, that's part of his personality, Why change his personality up so much?
I think that they have to stay on the safe side, as safe as they can, until they figure out where the ratings are gonna level, who's gonna stick around, and why. Is it the comic book fans who really crave the more, naturalistic approach to Constantine, or is it the casual fan that maybe is letting their teenagers stay up and watch this show on a Friday night with them? You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like I said, I would never let my kids read Constantine or watch this show. So, because it's going to get scary and it's going to get sketchy, and it has a lot of very amoral and gray leanings. And so it's just like, not what I really want my teenager to be filling their brain with.
I can see that. But
then again, I don't have kids. Some people might.
I don't either. So I'm just guessing myself as well. So a funeral procession goes by, and that's when Zed kind of runs into John, I suppose. And she totally recognizes him, and he's freaking out, going, "Who are you? Did you just sketch that? Are you gonna?"
I love his reaction. He's so skeptical. Like, you deal in dark magic.
Yeah.
And he's accusing her of being this con lady. And I'm just like, Constantine, do you hear yourself? But I like that he's skeptical, but at the same time, it's like, come on, buddy, pick a side.
Right. And he's like, "Oh gosh, you were up there. You just saw me. You just sketched this out. You don't know who I am. You have no idea. You're gonna pickpocket me. I don't trust."
And she did.
And then she did.
But
and
he's a con man too, so I guess that's where that whole skeptical nature of humans comes from.
That's true. Makes sense. And I don't know if this means anything to you, but I kind of paused on the license plate, and it said his date of birth was May 10th, 1982. So he's 32 years old. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know if that's referencing anything or not.
I think they might have gave his actual birthday from the comic book. I didn't see that when I was looking up the Easter eggs, but...
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yep, his birthday is... Well, originally in the comic book, it was May 10th, 1953, so...
Oh, okay. Got it.
But obviously, we've had a reboot, and they're trying to keep their heroes as young as possible, in the realm of reason. So that's pretty cool. Good catch.
Yeah, cool. So he goes to the wake, which is in a bar, asks for... Was it a lager of sorts? Or I don't know what he asks for. He asked for beer. So
he asked for stout because he's British.
Okay.
I was surprised they probably couldn't just say Guinness, right? Without them paying for it.
No. Somebody I heard said exactly the same thing. I'm surprised he didn't ask for a pint. So he asked for a stout instead. But and I think last week he asked for a lager, I believe.
I think so.
But so
very British. Next thing you know, we're going to be talking about chips and fish.
I know. I've only been to London once, so and that's when I was very young, and not of drinking age. So I did not frequent any pubs. So the next thing I noticed, and I like the little Easter eggs within the show when he talked about the dragon. Because it's funny, the town symbol is a dragon, and you're telling me this miner got burned up in the shower? And the guy kind of looks at him like, yeah, well, you're onto something, but... And he also asks that same, I believe it was the same person, and he said that 9 miners had died previously to that. So the backstory was the mine was closed and it got reopened. And I don't think the townspeople like the new owner. He seems a bit shady. At least he seems shady to me.
And no, he was very much written to be shady. Like, and I guess the implication that, Constantine throws at him is that you knew something was going on. You knew that this was a place where nobody was supposed to be digging, and you ignored and made them work and work and work.
Right.
Because he said the mines were tapped out until he came back. And it's almost, I thought they were going to go down the road of the owner of the mines had made like a deal with the devil. I thought that that's what they were going with.
It kind of seemed like that because they said we're digging deeper and deeper and deeper and closer to hell. And you're like, okay. And more miners are dying. And then we get this, was it again, they never mentioned her name. The wife of the wife of the miner that burned up in flames in the shower.
Okay, anyway, Lannis, that's her name?
No, we didn't ever. I don't think we ever got her name.
I'm pretty sure we didn't.
Right. Okay. But so 9 miners died before he did, and I think it was because they were actually mining just too deep, and it was too dangerous. And I think that's why the big baddie on this episode might actually be the owner of the mine. I don't know.
Yeah, it wasn't really clear, but it's like they wanted to go down the road, and then they made an abrupt turn. Mm-hmm. And they say, and when they meet the priest, well, the former priest, played by, James LaGrosse, he goes, "You guys are on to something. Too bad you're on the wrong track. If you notice, all the people that died are the bosses."
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's they were being protective spirits for the common man that was mining.
That's what I thought. Yeah, yes, absolutely. The Kablanai?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right. Spirits of the dead miners who warn miners that are actually working by tapping on the wall. If you hear knocking on the wall, you know you need to get the heck out of the mine before something happens. So John goes and he actually, I don't know, I think they had just shut the mine down, but I think he actually went into the mine and he was looking around.
Yeah, he was knocked to hear the knocking. He went deep and then he heard the knocking and he goes, okay, I know. That's how come he knew what it was. Because he goes, oh, I've dealt with this before.
And then one of my favorite scenes came up. The rocks behind him look like they came up in waves. And I'm like, oh, Tremors, the movie Tremors. I love that movie. It looked like Tremors to me. And I was like, oh, it's so cool. So that was a cool special effect I liked. So he gets out in time. And after that, and this is another favorite. Again, that was a favorite creepy moment of mine. A favorite, like, kind of comedic scene was when he went to, I guess it was just a get-together at the miner's house that had died. Oh, I'm kind of skipping ahead, actually, because we do need to talk about the Lannis a little bit. He wasn't very nice.
No.
Mm-mm. He was actually pretty mean to his wife, and he was on my bad side. I was like, I don't like this guy at all. And so when he went up in flames, I'm like, okay. Yeah, he was mean to his wife, verbally abusive. She was basically almost a mail order bride. Came over to the United States thinking that she was going to have this rich husband and a great life, and she's in a little bitty tiny mining town, and her husband's just a mean guy.
Yeah.
Like, where's my dinner, woman? So she wasn't liking that. So when John ends up at her house, my favorite scene was he was looking around at all the people bringing food, which is normal when you have a funeral. You go to the house, you bring lots of food, casseroles. He brings a frozen dinner.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
Yeah, he took it out of he looked around, took it out of the box, and then put it on the table. I was like, what are you doing, Constantine?
He didn't even take the plastic off. He just left the plastic on the frozen dinner. I'm like, great, that's great. Love it. Love it. So then he goes, there was like some kind of sign that said, if you're family, if you're not family, you can't come back here. Of course, he goes back there. And he immediately goes to the shower, right? And starts to investigate.
Yeah. I like how she came on to him, though. That had me laughing.
Oh, I know. And then she got really mad.
Yeah, and she's like, get out, get out.
Get out, get out. But before he got out, he actually did scoop up some of that goop that was in the shower. So he had some of that goop in a pill bottle or something. I don't know. But yeah, after she tried to come on to him and he refused, she's like, out of my house right now. That was
Then
great.
he gets into a fight. Like, this just, I was a classic Constantine, man. He's always getting into trouble. He's very socially awkward, and he has a hard time blending in, and like he just doesn't care. And I'm just like, dude, your cover, bro. Like, let's try a little harder. I hope he does try to like fit in and use an American accent, like eventually down the line to blend in better, you know?
Oh yeah.
And did you notice, just to backtrack a little bit, that he actually said he dabbled in the dark arts? Like, he was talking to Zed, like, instead of being a master of the dark arts, like, on his business card, he says, I'm an occasional dabbler in the dark arts. So, I think
I think he said... Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I think he said that in the first episode as well. He
just said he wanted to change the business cards.
Right. Okay.
So I think maybe he did finally change the business cards.
That was funny. I liked that. So yeah, he leaves, and I believe he speaks to does he speak to the owner of the mine yet? I'm not really.
He gets into that fight is when the owner like kind of says, you know, who are you? And they think he's with EPA, and then he says he's a reporter, but like. Then, like, after he gets beat up, you know, he goes back to his place, and that's where Zed is waiting for the confrontation, right?
Right, in the honeymoon suite, of course, because it's bigger and more spacious. So, I don't know why he picks the honeymoon suite, but he does. And this is where the, I don't want to say dark magic. I don't know what you want to call it, but this is when she touches his arm, and
she uses her visions, her power,
right,
prophetic visions, yeah.
Right, feels his pain, his loneliness, and I'm not really sure how he responded to that, but obviously he's a private person, so he didn't like it. So, but then that's when he gets that goop out, I believe, and I asked him. He asks her to close her eyes, and that's when he pours the goop all over her, on her hand, and it starts to really burn. And before that, he hypnotizes her, tells her to find a white dove in a snowstorm, and that's when she kind of goes into the hypnotic state. And then once the goop burns her hand, she sees this really tall cross, and I think that's when the priest or preacher, I'm not sure, kind of comes. I mean, I know he already met him in the bar, but that's when he comes into play, because Constantine wants to check out that big cross that she sees in her vision.
Yeah. And he ditches her through the window.
I know. She's like, where'd he go?
I don't see. That's the thing that I like about John Constantine. He's kind of a user and opportunist, and. That was just like I was like, classic Constantine.
That's funny. I love.
I'm just glad that they're kind of keeping that about him and not trying to make him like a woe is me, like, hero, because he's not a hero. He's an anti-hero. He's in this mission to save his own soul, and all the good stuff that he does is just icing on the cake. He could really care less. It's really the take of Constantine, and so I don't want them to really lose that message. I don't want them to like make him a fully good guy. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, he's doing good, but in the eyes of the public, I suppose they're like, oh, he's a mean fella. He's a bad dude. I don't want to hang out around him. Kind of like Reese and on a Persons of Interest. I think he's a Reese type of person.
Yeah,
Everybody's
but less interesting. Reese is the most interesting, like, and he is a good guy, a bona fide good guy. Now, I don't think that Constantine should ever be a full on good guy ever. Like that just is the essence of the character who he is. John Reese's journey is from being a good guy who did bad things because he had nothing to live for, into a good guy who does good things because he is a good person. You know, Finch. Everybody changes that.
So throughout the comics, then John Constantine is just a bad guy.
It's not bad. He does stuff for his own selfish reasons.
Selfish reasons? Okay. Good to know.
And that's just my personal take on it. He's definitely not a hero to me. He's an anti-hero. He does things by his own set of rules, lives his own way that's unconventional to society, which is the classic definition of an anti-hero.
Right.
Chaotic neutral for my D&D people. Maybe lawful evil. I don't know. I'll get back to you.
I like that. Lawful evil. Yeah, that sounds good. He said
we were where he gets to the priest, where he goes to check the church out.
Oh yeah, he goes to check the church out, and there are a couple of teenagers already in there. Like, oopsie.
That was something that I wasn't.
I know. That was like, what? Okay, but the demon on the wall was kind of creepy.
It looked like a group to me.
It looked like what?
A group from Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, that was funny. No, I found it kind of creepy, but then he gets what does he do? He gets holy water.
Yeah, with his blood in it.
Yeah, blood. He puts his own blood in it, pours it over his head, and then he actually sees the Koblanite.
Yeah, that was weird and confusing. I was just like, wait, what?
Well, I think it was confusing for a lot of people because the Koblanite are supposed to protect minors, but it seems like this specific, I don't know if they're a group of people or if it's just one entity of all the dead miners' souls, but the Koblanite seemed to go rogue. And instead of just protecting the minors, they seem to have started doing bad things to other people, like one of their own.
Bloodlust, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I'm not sure if they actually went rogue or somebody else had a hand in it.
Yeah, I don't know if these cases are ever going to be clear cut. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think that that's something that a lot of casual viewers will have a struggle with. Like, you know, a lot of people, if the show is going to go down a procedural road, you need a pretty bow at the end unless it's actually connected to the myth arc of the show.
Mm-hmm. So you kind of have to just like kind of
make up your own decision about what really happened, I guess.
Yeah. A lot of people are really, I want the answer, and I know a lot of people want the answer, and they want the answer now. Some people like me, I go, I want the answer eventually, but I want to understand the answer. I want to understand it, and sometimes it's hard for me to go, I don't get it, but I'll let it go, you know. Like this one for me, I had a couple of questions that we can discuss if you want at the end of the podcast, where I didn't get it, and maybe I shouldn't get it. Maybe it just doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see. So he pours the holy water and blood on himself, and he sees the demon. He heads back to the bar. Zad. Okay, Martin. He talks to this ex-minister. Of course, I've already called him a preacher, priest, minister. I'm not very religious, so I'm sorry. He quit because of the mine. And was that because he lost his son?
Yep, that's what he said.
Okay, he lost his son, so he quit. And he kind of lost his faith.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So John's just getting some more background, and this is where at least this is where I was starting to lean towards the ex-minister being the big bad. Because he's in the bar drinking, he lost his faith, he closed his church, he's upset with the death of his child, and he has something to do with the Cobbler and I going rogue. So he talks to the ex-minister. After that, we see him in Zed's apartment, and immediately you see all these drawings of Constantine. And he did a little research himself. He said, wow, you only have a 3-month lease on this place. I'm wondering, is she following him? Is she trying to track him? She doesn't really know who he is, so she can't really be tracking him. Maybe she's just being pulled to where he is. I don't know how she ended up in this little bitty mining town. That was a big question that I had.
I think it's a combination of two things personally. She might be on the run from something, or she might be drawn to supernatural hotspots.
Oh, yeah. I like that. Okay, I'll take that. I'll take that. So the alarm goes off. Let me see.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
And then they go rush into the mine.
They go rushing to the mine collapsed. I think all the miners got out. I think that they said everybody was safe. Then we got a little bit more history of the mine, Norpen, and it's a rogue operation. It's really, they're not supposed to be mining as deep as they are, and that's when I started going, okay, that's why all these miners have died, and that's why they're getting all these, the knocking, the Coble and I trying to save the miners. That I'm understanding that. And then this really strange thing happens where I believe, was it the owner's son who was in the truck?
Yep.
Okay. So he gets into the truck, and the goop starts to bubble up from underneath. I was just, what? It wasn't as like goopy. It was more watery, I guess, but they couldn't get out of the truck.
Yeah.
And it was looking pretty bad for both of them. Eventually, John Constantine did with was it Zed's help?
Yep. Zed pried open the car door, but it was too late for the owner's son.
Yeah, but I think that was the work of the Kablanai.
Rogue Kablanai, though.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
See, yeah, I definitely agree with you. I think that there were like two factions of Kablanai. Like the good ones were like the ones that were killing the bosses, and then there were the rogue ones that were like after Constantine and the other people that really were just following orders.
Yeah, I was thinking that possibly the Kablanai that were looking after the miners were the ones that were knocking down in the mine, and the rogue ones were the ones that actually came out into the open to get the owner and his son. I think maybe, I don't know if Constantine was just accidentally he was there. I don't know if the Kablanai were they after him?
He was just collateral damage.
Okay, that's what I thought. I thought he was just collateral damage. Okay, that makes sense.
But then I guess I'll just go ahead and bring this up really quick. Because, when we find out what was actually behind it, they try to tie it back in to what happened in the pilot, and they talk about the rising darkness. And that's what definitely made me think there were like the Kablanai got free and were going rogue, because that extra darkness that is rising and allowed them to come to the surface kind of gave them the ability to break the bond of whoever summoned them and were controlling them.
That's exactly what I have in my notes. I mean, almost to the T. I said a rising darkness. Demons don't operate in the day, and that's what John Constantine was like. What are they doing? And that's when I figured there has to be two types: the ones that were warning the miners, and then the like you said, the rogue ones, the ones that were operating in the light of day.
Yeah. And that's another thing that I was like a little annoyed with. Like, this is supposed to be a creepy, spooky show, and we've got demons in the daylight.
Right, it's always in the day. I mean, in a way, I like it because I can actually see it. But no, it really does need to be, it needs to be in the dark. It needs to be at night or just when the sun's going down, just to give it that creepy
Like,
factor.
it was creepy in the opening with the guy when he comes home from work and he's taking the shower. And then, they also did a really phenomenal job with the sound design where, it
Yes.
stops and then you just hear just the ambient noise, like, and then it goes
Uh-huh.
whoosh and you're like, oh, snap. I
I
thought they did a
know.
really great job with that scene, and then they just kill it by having most of the stuff in the daytime.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah, we need more nighttime scary things happening in this. Like you said, make it more dark.
I liked it. I like creepy spooky, especially since it was supposed to be. Like, I guess they didn't plan for the Halloween thing,
Right.
so
That's
that's a bummer. That would have been
hmm
perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. So John and Zed are okay, John's saved, Zed's there, and I believe the son's name was Thad, or was that the
I
father's
thought that
name?
that was the father's name.
Okay, okay, so the father's dead. Um,
No, no, no. The
let's see.
father's not dead yet. The son's dead because the
Oh,
father dies
uh,
later on in the mine.
oh, that's right, that's right. I skipped a little bit. Okay, right, okay. Thad Bowman is the owner of the mine, and Thad and his son, they go down into the mine and they're trying to inspect to see if they can open it, and they see the demon, and the demon goes right after the father, and it was creepy.
Oh yeah, but like I like how Constantine right before that asked that, do you have your art supplies? And she basically like spray paints that weird safety symbol or what, like that symbol on the rocks or whatever, like that upside down triangle.
Yeah, I didn't really. I knew he said that, and I was trying to figure out. I knew he was going to ask her to make some kind of protective symbol, but I just didn't know what the symbol was going to be and what it would look like. But she did. So the demon, well, the Koblenai, did attack the father, killed the father, and I think that's when John and Zed went down there and uh, tried to help the son.
Yeah, and they saved
Okay.
them, right?
Yes, yes, I believe that son, he did not die.
Yeah,
hmm So, okay, I don't know if I'm skipping. I don't think I'm
they
skipping,
blow the
but
mine up. Oh, we kind
yeah,
of skipped over one of. Well, I guess I can talk about that. My favorite since it doesn't mean yeah, but they go up to the top and they blow the mine up.
yes, absolutely. And they have the ex-minister do it because of his son.
Yeah, I thought
He
that was.
goes, I would love to have the honors.
And then
And
Constantine goes, wait a minute, something isn't right. And, then he realizes what the lady said to him at the beginning. And I was going, yeah, if she's Romanite, which for a lot of people who don't know is the actual politically correct way of saying gypsies. Yeah, in case you didn't know that. I know a lot of people actually don't know that probably.
I did not know
So,
that.
like,
No.
I think a lot of people who don't know that were kind of confused, like, what's Romanite? And, like, so yeah, that is like they prefer to be called Romanite. But yeah, most people
Okay.
would call them gypsies, like gypsy magic.
Okay, yeah.
And
I,
so he goes, wait, and then he remembers because he said something didn't feel right, and so he goes to confront her, which is one of my favorites.
mhm. Yeah. Yes, that was a good scene.
And he goes, she tries to get the couple eye on him, and he goes, he basically calls her stupid little cow, and he goes, don't, your husband is a dead miner, and he summons her dead husband's spirit to drag her to hell, presumably, right?
Right. Because he's part of the Kablanai and he's gonna protect. Yeah, he has, since she used the Kablanai for evil gypsy magic. He's gonna take her, and I guess she didn't think that out. I mean, I did feel kind of sorry for her because she was being physically abused. But I think she took her gypsy magic, just way too far, and that's where we get the rogue Koblenai. And that's when John Constantine kind of goes, "Okay, you guys go back to what you were doing. So, warning the miners. You know, stop acting all crazy and blowing up showers and whatnot."
Yeah.
um, let's see. And
he talks
The
to
last
Zed, and he tries to dissuade her, but obviously he doesn't do a good job, and
No,
it's
he
unlike
says,
him now.
he goes, everyone around me ends up dead. But she said, no, I've had so many visions of you. There's something about you. I need to be around you. So, yeah. So he's not going to be working alone anymore. At least Zed's going to be hanging out with him now.
But anyway,
Uh,
yeah, I thought that, for what they had to do by basically essentially writing a second pilot, it was good. And, obviously that shortens the time that they get to think about other things like Halloween themes and stuff like that. So,
mhm.
but I thought all in all, it was a pretty decent setup, and we got to focus on Zed and Constantine, and now we kind of got that out of the way, and so now I'm interested to see Manny's reaction to her and Chaz's reaction to her and how she does
Right.
in the field as the season progresses.
Right. Yeah, I think this was just, like you said, maybe a second type pilot, where they just needed to set everything back up again. And now that they have, then we can go on and there won't be as many monsters of the week, and hopefully the overall, the mysterious, darkness rising, the mythology will start developing better, I hope. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know. This show is having a rocky start, but I think that this change might bring in the people that weren't interested in Lucy. Like, I did see a lot of people complaining about that character.
I did too. And like I said, I really, um, from fresh eyes, because I know your comics from top to bottom. I don't, but from fresh eyes, not knowing either character, I wasn't bothered with either character. Either one would have been fine with me.
A lot of the
Um,
reviews I read said they didn't get, well, in this particular episode, they didn't get why the swap occurred. That's what I
oh,
saw a lot of reviewers saying, and like, I guess only time will tell. I think it's a shame, at least in the
interesting.
case of Liv, but I see that they're still gonna use Liv's dad's little Millhouse set. So that was the only thing I was really worried about. I was like, if they get rid of her,
Uh,
if they're gonna get rid of that, that's a cool set full of Easter eggs. Don't do this to me, no.
Not think about
But they
that.
are
I
still
wonder.
using it because that's where we open the episode.
Okay. Huh. I guess what they're just gonna do, they must just say that I don't want to, like she said last week, I just don't want to have any part of this. This is just too creepy for me. I just can't handle this.
Yeah, they sent her off to
So,
California, and John was trying to be a good friend by keeping, Jasper's daughter out of trouble.
right,
So
right.
yeah, let's talk about Easter eggs.
Mm. I think this might be your department, because I know there were a lot of Easter eggs when it came to covers of the comics. Am I right?
Yeah, something like that.
I knew I had to refer to you for that one.
That is a conversation for a different day, maybe over the hiatus. So
There was a
yeah.
bunch.
So Zed, obviously, like I said, she's a character from the comic books who actually went by the name of Mary. The line, as if you're his long lost lover, haha, funny, because indeed they did have an affair in their past. Like I said, that was slowly revealed to them over the course of her arc in the comic
Huh.
book. We got to see John Constantine's tattoos, well, some of them.
Yes,
The
yes.
one I'm waiting on is the one that's on his butt. If they
Oh,
actually go there.
do you think
It, it's
do you think that
it's
will?
a huge thing because Swamp Thing put it on his butt, and of course, there's works. They're in the works of trying to incorporate at least the human side of Swamp
Oh,
Thing into the comic book, into the show eventually.
I would love that. That would be awesome.
So yeah, and I really like that. And the one on his arm also was the one that you can see in the Constantine movie that Keanu Reeves starred in. When he puts
Right.
his forearms together, you see like the circle and like two triangles and arrows. You probably don't.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, he was in town for Circuit of the Americas here in Austin this weekend.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They did an interview with him on TV. So I was like, oh wow, I just saw your movie Constantine like a couple weeks ago. I actually had seen it when it first came out, but I needed to watch it again. So.
We had art. Some of Zed's art was actually provided by Tim Bradstreet, who, he drew for Hellblazers comics. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's pretty much all that like I said, they kind of dropped all the Easter eggs to focus on this relationship between Constantine and Zed. And the
Right.
Goblini, actually aren't like protective spirits. They're basically goblins.
That's what I did here. I wrote it down somewhere. They were
It's like Tommy Knockers.
oh,
If
okay.
you've ever seen that Stephen King movie or read the book. Basically that's where they get that myth from.
Yeah, mythical gnome-like creatures that help to warn minors. And I'm sorry, if I was giggling, my husband just showed me the tattoo that you were speaking of.
See? Don't you want to see it?
Yes, I do now.
So yeah,
Oh my.
I think that was really cool. And I also, for a second, like, I don't know how big a Stephen King fan you are, but I'm like a huge Stephen King fan. And in Tommy Knockers, the guy's name is Thad Beaumont. And so we were like, Tad Bowman. I'm like, why does that sound familiar? And then I realized, and I'm like, no, that's from The Dark Half. Oh my gosh, why am I thinking about this? But I think because it's so much like Tommy Knockers, and I just have so much Stephen King trivia in my head, everything just kind of.
Do you? I love Stephen King. Obviously, my husband's from Boston. He's a huge Boston Red Sox fan. Yay!
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I know. But I do. I don't really read his novels. I watch his movies, and I'm loving some of his television shows as well.
Yeah. I hope one of these days we can get like a dream catcher crossover.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. Like because a lot of like TV people are really obsessed with Stephen King, especially people that write creepy, spooky stuff. So
Right.
I'd be interested in seeing something like that. But yeah, like I said, we didn't really have that many Easter eggs, so I didn't have that much homework this week. Yay! But don't do it again. Like I live for Easter eggs. I do.
Oh, well, I thought there were quite a few covers. Covers in, was it Zed's apartment of the comic books?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't remember. Well, I've never read the comic books, but online people were actually naming the numbers of the comic books, and I'm like, wow, that's pretty hardcore.
It was easy to do. They just kind of blow it up and put it on different parts.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
So,
Like I said, it's kind of a little disingenuous considering that the people who did the last run on like the regular Hellblazer before it got changed over in the New 52 to Constantine have been like kind of slamming this show's take. So I mean, it's a little weird, and I don't know how to feel about that just yet.
right.
Like there's tons of interviews all over the internet talking about it. So I was just like, yikes! Don't leave that alone. But I do like that they're trying, at least.
That's true.
So
At least they're trying.
I guess it's time for awards. What did you give this episode as a grade?
Well, I actually upgraded. I gave the last one a C plus. I gave this a B minus. I said it wasn't mind blowing, but now that Zed's in the picture, I'd give it a B minus because I'm looking forward to their relationship and how they're going to develop that.
I gave it a C plus. Like I said, I really don't see the point of the swap at this particular point. And I actually, for me as a comic book fan, to like Lucy over Zed's first appearance, ooh, that's rough to take. So, but yeah, they are trying. They still, Matt Ryan is just still totally killing it. He's the best thing about this show. He really gets Constantine, and, I watch a lot of other DC shows, obviously, and for him to really have this grasp of who Constantine is out of the gate, it's refreshing. He doesn't have anybody who has played Constantine on TV, and everybody hates the movie, so I'm sure he didn't ask Keanu Reeves for advice.
So
I really like that.
I liked the movie. I didn't think it was that bad.
As a comic book fan, I just was like, what is going on? I hate that movie.
Sometimes it's better not to read or
yes,
when they adapt stuff. I mean, to be honest, I love Bates Motel. I've never seen Psycho.
Oh,
Never seen Psycho. So I like going into TV shows not knowing anything, not reading books, not reading comics, just going in there with just a fresh set of eyes. And I like listening to other people who have read the books and the comics and whatnot. And if, I don't want you guys to be frustrated, but
I think a podcast, especially though, it's good to have somebody who hasn't and somebody who's like a nerd.
thank you. That's what I was thinking. I was like, let's have a podcast where somebody who has read the comics knows what's going on, and somebody with a fresh set of eyes go, okay, I didn't think it was that bad, kind of thing. So hopefully I can help you out on that one because I don't read comics. I don't.
It's good, believe me. Because you get frustrated, but like I said, Matt Ryan is definitely the best thing about it, and he gets it. And he has a pretty good, solid cast behind him. And when we get back to like Chaz and Manny, I think I'll be a lot more happy. Because
Yes.
that was the interest that those are the most interesting things about Constantine at this point right now are Chaz and Manny, and we just kind of
More
cinched
Harold.
them out of nowhere.
I know. I want more Harold.
Yes, yes. That was like my biggest thing. I'm like, wait, no Manny? What?
I know.
What?
I was like, no way.
Don't you do this to me again?
Bring it back next week. They
I
better.
hope so. What was your favorite scene of the night?
Okay. Actually, let's see. My favorite scene of the night was the shower scene, obviously, with the goop, and then it explodes. The goop was like really gross and like, but I was not expecting the explosion and the fire. I was like, whoa, that's pretty cool. So that was my favorite scene of the night. What was yours? What was your favorite scene?
Oh, I think my favorite scene was when Zed was in the bar. Constantine had her sit in a chair and get the vision of the waterfall and the campsite. I thought that was visually stunning.
Right, because we didn't really touch on that earlier. So yeah, I did like that. I did that like that as
I
well.
thought we were gonna have you've seen the movie, so you know what I'm talking about. I thought he was gonna like pull out the bucket of water and have her channel something in like a black cat or something that way. But like the way that he did it, it was really cool and I liked it. And like you just almost like could feel the waterfall, you know, like it was just that vivid. And I thought that in that particular scene, the director did a really great job of sucking the audience right into that moment.
Oh, the effects were wonderful. Yes, I love that.
Yep.
It really was. Yeah, and I'm glad that was your favorite scene because, like I said, we had. I think we kind of.
Yeah, I was like, we skipped over that, but don't worry about it. It's my scene of the night. What was your favorite line?
Actually, I didn't really have a favorite line. I had a favorite scene, and that was as I told you before, when John Constantine brings the frozen dinner to the widow's house. That just cracked me up. And as he was like, tearing the box open when he was looking around at everybody bringing food, and then he tears the foil off, but he leaves the plastic on, and he just throws it on the table. I'm like, that's just too funny. And I don't know if that's like a Constantine kind of move or something that he would do, but it was great. I couldn't stop laughing. Like I got to rewind and see that again. That's funny. And yours? What did you?
My favorite line. Hold on, I'm actually listening to it right now.
Oh, okay.
Okay, it's at the end where we're wrapping up, and he says, he tells Zed, do you mind, and falls on the bed, and then we have his closing monologue, and the music kicks in, and he talks about this line about those who have trust risk putting their faith in the wrong people. And we see Zed kind of looking at Constantine in this very suspicious way.
Mm.
So I kind of like that. Like, is Zed really this ingenue who doesn't know much about, her visions, or is she playing Constantine? Like, I hope that there's a twist to Zed, that she's just not this young girl with a hopeless crush and this weird fixation for Constantine.
Oh, that would be a great, yeah, for her to be playing him. Mm-hmm. They're both kind of con.
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Okay. Definitely. Okay. My most favorite, most memorable moment. I think my most memorable moment, it was when Zed first meets Constantine, And after Constantine, he kind of gives her the one over. Not, you're kind of like a con man. You're gonna do something. I know I can't trust you. And of course, what does she do? She picks his pocket. So I thought that was pretty. I thought that was pretty funny, pretty memorable. Great, great, great. For the first time for them to see each other, to have that happen.
Yeah, I like that too. But I think my most memorable moment, it had to be when, right at the end again, like I'm talking about, like he's trying to like get in the bed and it looks like they're about to kiss, and then he just pushes his face forward into the bed and goes to sleep. And you see her kind of roll her eyes and kind of just resign to the fact that he's not going to take the bait right now. It's like she wants him to like come on to her or something. And I don't know that I'm okay with that just yet. Like I said, I'm not really a shipper. I'm not into like romantic interest for the sake of just having a female lead and that's all she's there for. Like it rubs me the wrong way.
I don't think they should. I definitely don't. I don't think they should this soon in the series. Hopefully, we'll get more and more, more seasons. But some of the shows that I've watched over the years, I didn't want them to ship, but after a couple of seasons, I could see them definitely shipping two different characters, and it was okay because we had already learned the backstory of one, we learned the backstory of another, we saw them apart, then we started seeing their budding romance or whatever. So, I mean, give it a couple of seasons, maybe I'd be able to ship them, but I agree with you, I wouldn't ship them right now.
I'm here for action and compelling mythology of the show, so it's just like, and they do have a romantic past in the comic book, so it's just like, don't do this to me.
Well, maybe do it like a couple of seasons down the line.
Yeah, when the show has its footing. I mean, because shipping can be very polarizing.
Because I kind of like the fact I didn't know that they had an earlier romance, like way back in the day, and what would you say, it was a spell
or something like that? Like they didn't, like they discovered it slowly. It was just weird.
Interesting. That would be something I would like to see that. I mean, later on, but that sounds kind of neat. Best action.
So you forgot character of the night.
Oh, I'm sorry, character of the night. Zed. I say Zed because I liked the beginning of her visions. I liked the visions. The visions to me, like you said, especially the waterfall, it was so real. The special effects was so real. You just got at least got me really like, wow, she's really seeing this. She's really feeling this. And then I forgot who interrupted them. But all of a sudden, the vision was gone.
It was the bartender.
Like, oh, bartender, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
The character of the night for me is the minister, because he was just so sarcastic. He's like, to summon those things, I'd have to have faith. and then by the end, of course, he's dusting off he's fixing up his church and stuff. I just like James LeGros. He's awesome, and he's he kind of plays bad guys from time to time, and so that for me was like another little red herring. I was like, maybe it's this guy, and it's not. We got like three red herrings basically. We got the owner of the mines, and then we got him, and then maybe it was just a Coblin Eye on their own, because of the rising darkness.
Right. No, I think for me, I think they wanted the viewers to think that it was the ex-minister all along.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a major like what at the end when we found out it wasn't. So
best action now.
Well, okay.
And this is a stretch, I guess, because we really didn't have a lot of action in this episode.
Well, I'm going to put a little play on this. The best action was actually the kids having sex in the church. Sorry.
You naughty little minx.
Sorry. Couldn't help myself. Okay, I actually put the creepiest action, and it was when John Constantine goes into the mine and the coal moves like the waves, like I said earlier with Tremors. I love Tremors. I love the movie. I know it's a bit cheesy, but I mean, it's one of those movies that everybody, it's like a Sharknado, I mean, you cannot not watch it. It's just But it was really, they did it in such a way where it really was creepy to see the coal kind of like ocean waves right behind him, and he doesn't know that it's there.
Okay, I'm gonna stretch mine out too, and I'm gonna say the best action is John Constantine getting beat up at the wake.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, get used to that, guys. He gets a lot of that because he is
Oh, he
happy.
does. Oh, okay. I did not know that. So this is going to be reoccurring.
I really feel like this is gonna be a recurring thing. Like he goes undercover and gets beat up a lot,
Oh, no.
which will be my comic relief for most of the time as well.
That would be true. Okay. Next is best character interactions. I think at first it was the initial contact with what was it, Lannis, his wife, and how for me, I felt so sorry for her for being abused, but then when I found out what she did, I was like, oh gosh, I'm kind of, it's tug of war here. Who am I rooting for? I did like their interaction, and the fact that he actually didn't he pour out like a bottle of pills of hers to collect the goop, and then the pills were all on the sink or something, and she didn't even notice. I was like, hello, some stranger in your bathroom going through your medicine cabinet. You know?
Yep. I think mine. Oh, is this rough? It was when it's between Constantine and Zed when he's hypnotizing her with the white dove.
Yeah, that was good too.
I like that. It was just like, oh, okay, he's letting her in, but nope, psych.
Yes. Burn, burn.
Yeah, that was scary actually. I was like, is this really burning her? Is this in her mind? What's going on?
I know. Get some aloe vera. You've just been burned.
Biggest shock or surprise of the night?
It was the fact that the wife conjured up the demons, the Koblenai. It was the wife that with her gypsy magic, and then they started going out of control. Because almost up into the very end, I was almost sure it was the ex-minister, really. And then to find out it was her, it was wow. Okay, that's a big twist. And of course, I'm sure the show writers wanted it to be that way. And you?
That it wasn't the boss of the mines. I wanted it to be him because he was a jerk.
Yeah, right? Definitely.
I wanted the Cabo Knight to take him down and drag him back to hell.
I know. They didn't do that. They kind of just knocked him out, didn't they?
Yeah.
Yeah. But he did get blown up, so.
There's that. So I guess this is the place where you can posit your questions.
Okay, well, I had a theory that the rising darkness will keep obviously, hopefully the overall mythology will grow, and it will most likely come from Negral, the rising darkness. Predictions I don't have yet. Questions, I think we kind of got to that. We did have Zachary on our Facebook page ask, he said he got the woman killing her husband, but what about all the other guys? And I think we obviously touched upon maybe there were two types: the good ones that were warning the miners, and then the rogue ones that the wife used her gypsy magic on, that were kind of going rogue, and Constantine kind of put them back in their place.
And it also could very well be that, hey, mining is dangerous. You know, some people might have died a natural death due to mining.
Right, exactly.
And that's what I'm saying, where it's just like all these little loose ends that it's left up to the viewer, and I don't know if that was intentional or not.
Mm-hmm. It took me a while to figure out, like, okay, and that's when I did the same thing as you. I said I think there are two different types of the Koblenai, and we touched on this as well. My other question was how did Zed end up in that little mining town in Pennsylvania? And I believe you said that she was just Oh, how did you
Either
say?
she's on the run or she's just drawn to supernatural hotspots or a little bit of both. Or maybe she
Draw.
is playing Constantine in a long con. I have no idea where they're going with this character of Zed.
I like the second part that she's just drawn
Yeah.
to hot spots like that. I think I would like that the best. That would be cool.
Oh,
And,
speaking of Zach, he did send us his thoughts on last week's episode, and I'm gonna patch that in
okay,
right here. So I just want to mention that. And
sure.
yeah, Zach is a friend of mine, and he's a fellow podcaster on Southgate Media. He hosts the Flash Arrow Power Hour with Bill.
Oh, cool. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I need to catch up on Flash. I'm a little behind on the
It's
Flash right
only
now.
4 episodes, Carolee.
I
I'm
know.
just teasing. You are a busy lady. I'm glad that you have.
Well, 14 hours yesterday and 12 hours the day before. It was kind of tough, but I'm gonna binge watch tonight. So.
Okay, fair enough. Like I said, yay, we all have lives. You can't be a slave to TV. That's what DVRs are for.
I know it's hard though because I have so many things that I am binge watching right now.
So I guess that brings us to the shameless plugs portion of this podcast. Would you like to go first?
Say that again.
Shameless plugs. Would you like to go first?
Shameless plugs. Gosh, I don't think I had one.
Just go ahead, plug your Twitter.
Oh, you just want me to plug my Twitter?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My shameless plug. Find me on Facebook at carolee.crawford or on Twitter at Boston Redvines.
Do you want to promote the little project that you were working on?
Actually, yes, I was an extra on Laser Team, which is produced by Rooster Teeth here in Austin. I was a nurse last week. This week I was part of a crowd scene, and that's why I'm so behind in all my shows because I have been working 12 to 14-hour days, nights, and I don't know when it's going to come out, but I will definitely let you know when it does.
And I'll put it on the Facebook. Speaking of which, we finally got a Facebook.
Yay!
And Twitter, hopefully by the next time that we air. Do you know what the Facebook is?
The Facebook I have right here. Let me get it out. The Newcastle Crew, the Constantine podcast. So when you search the Newcastle Crew, the Constantine podcast, and then you'll find our Facebook page.
Yep. You can leave us messages. You can
absolutely
post synopsis, maybe cast pictures, fan art, looking just for a really cool way to connect with you guys. And
anything. We welcome it.
And of course, you can find us on iTunes, the Newcastle Crew, the Constant Podcast. We are part of the Southgate Media Group. So if you like this podcast, please do be sure to subscribe, rate, and review us.
Yes, please.
As for me, I can be found on Twitter at LoveHellfire. I do write for my own personal blog, mostly CW stuff like Rain. I just started Benched, which is on USA, and a couple of other things in the pipelines that I'm working on. So you can find me there at lovelovestv.blogspot.com. And remember, Loves is spelled L-U-V-S. And last but not least, I definitely want to encourage you guys to check out the new and improved website, southgatemediagroup.com.
Yes.
Rob's been working really hard on it. It looks really awesome.
Did a great job. Absolutely.
And he's still working on different pages and improving, but it's so cool so far. So definitely check it out. We have so many podcasts. Like, you would not believe how many. We have a podcast about Pinterest. We have a podcast about Star Wars. We have a Marvel podcast. Just literally something for everybody. So if you are into podcasts, this is the network that you definitely want to check out.
Close to 30, I think. I thought I counted that.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yes. It's awesome.
So yeah, that's about it for the shameless plugs. We hope you've enjoyed our discussion of episode 102, The Darkness Beneath. Be sure to tune in next week when we talk about 103, The Devil's Vinyl. Just the title alone sounds super cool.
Yes, indeed.
So I'm really pumped and excited for next week. Hopefully I will have time to live tweet. I was actually packing to go to Indianapolis last last Friday, Halloween, to meet the co-host of Queen Consolidated and the Flashpoint, and we recorded live, and that's up for you guys now, so be sure to check it out. Hope you enjoy it. But this week, I definitely totally want to live tweet with you guys. You think you'll be able to live tweet?
Oh, I was live tweeting. Yes.
Okay, cool. I hope I can live tweet with my Southgate Media family.
Yes, I'll be live tweeting pretty much every Friday. So.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you for listening, you guys. And again, this is Carolee and Lilith, and we are signing off. But remember, there is nothing worse than death by demon.
If you would like to donate to help pay for this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts, simply go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, and click on the donate button. It can be as little as $1 or, well, as much as you want. Help keep this fun going by supporting this and our other shows. Thanks again for listening, everyone. You're the best fans in the world.